Okay, another quick video. There was a question about my renaming and what I did in Linux versus Windows and OS X. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. First, I have my Linux report. I'm going to go ahead and open that folder, open this right here, and there it is. Go ahead and close it. And if I rename this folder, let's just take a look what happens when I rename a folder. We already looked at what happens when I rename a file, but we'll look at that again. I've renamed the folder. I'll make some change here. And now we will go ahead and save it. File, save. And again, it's saying document has been changed by others. No, it hasn't. It's just confused. So I'll say save anyway, and it creates a brand new folder. It's just doing weird stuff there. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and open there. Open it again while opening my new one. I now have two files, and change it again. But now I'm going to come over here and rename it. And let's go ahead and we'll go ahead save. I could just use the icon right here. And again, it thinks it's been changed by someone else. It creates something new. It just gets confused. Let's also review one of the other oddities on this. Now this is just Mint and Cinnamon. It might not be on all versions of Linux. It's not. But when I go ahead and I drag that around, I can't resize. The only way to resize this is to close it, reopen it. Oh, and it doesn't even open in the same place. And so it's just a mess. Yeah, it's not opening up in the same place even, but when it does open, I could resize it. So I'd have to then get this size and pull it over, and it just done poorly. Just done really poorly there. So now let's go ahead and we'll take a look at Windows. Here's Windows. I have Linux report. I'm going to do the same thing. Notice just with the resizing, I'll resize it over there. Of course I could resize it because, well, they made it well. They thought about this before they shipped it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and open up my Linux report. And of course, if I try to rename it, look what happens. It's going to tell me I can't even do it. Same thing even if I try to rename the folder. Doesn't matter what I rename it to. It's not letting me do it. Now I will say there is some inconsistency here. We'll be completely open. I open this right here. This is just a text file with the same stuff. If I go and I rename that, it lets me do it. And I think that Windows does not handle this very well. It is letting me do that. And now when I go to save it, file save. Oh, I should have left this open so we could see it. It gives it a different name. So there is some confusion there. Sort of does a little bit of what Linux does there, but at least with Word, it's not doing it. So we can go ahead and close these things. And now we'll go ahead and take a look at the Mac. Okay, back to the Mac, and I'm going to show a couple of other things here. First, there's the sidebar, and it's going to be important that we know what's on here, even though some of it's blurred out. But I have snit, which is my snit folder, desktop, downloads, documents, things of that nature. I also have tags down here. I have some other stuff that's grayed out, but I do have over 1 gigabyte in last week, so I could do quick searches. That's what that little icon means right there, just a quick search. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide that sidebar. But let's keep that in mind. We'll talk about that later. Something else there was a debate about, is this the toolbar or the menu bar? Of course that's the menu bar. If I right click here, customize toolbar, and I can do that easily enough. So this is a toolbar, this is the menu bar. Just some terminology. Next, let's go ahead and open up Pages. And we can go ahead and look at resizing here. I'm going to drag this over to the left. Now this is a third-party program I have. There is a bit of a delay here because I like that delay. It's completely configurable. And of course, I can resize these. I can also, if I want to, I can bring it up to the corner here and it will do a quarter. And if I bring it down here, it'll do this quarter there. So you can go ahead and do all of that. And there's hotkeys to do the same thing. I can go ahead and move that around, make it full screen. When I drag it down, it knows it's a window. I could drag it back up to get that full screen. I happen to not like it being half right there. I have a lot of windows which I have less than half. And I'll have other windows here which I don't have half, I will have being more than half. And there's some overlap, but that makes it pretty easy for me to work, and I have found that to be good for me. I have even other hotkeys, so I can move things in some if I want to. That's the half, that's move it out from the edge or into the middle. But let's go ahead and just put it back there the way I like it. Okay, then we could talk about the renaming and the moving. This is Linux report. Whoops, it's supposed to be my Linux report. Now I already mentioned in the file I could rename. And there's also move to and duplicate, other things like that. But let's just rename it here. I didn't show that before in the other video. So I'll click that right there, and I can go ahead and say My Linux Report. And if I move over here, My Linux Report automatically does it. I can even, of course, drag it into a new folder, and it's going to know if I right click, it's going to say new folder, a deeply buried folder, new folder. So I can go ahead and move that. I could even hit Apple Z over here, or I could have gone to Edit Undo, and it keeps track of all of this. And I could make changes anytime in here and save it. And of course it works. Why would it not work? Now, I will say some older programs don't handle this quite as well. They don't have this new stuff right here where you can move it. Oh, I could also, if I click on this where, I get those same things, the SNIT, desktop downloads, documents, that other stuff that I was showing before. It even has recent places, and I can move it that way also. And so I can move it right within the program. I could also, if I wanted to, go ahead and put tags onto it. So I could add a red tag. I don't use that often, but some people like it. Notice over here, it did it automatically though. So really powerful stuff. That's in the newer programs. Not all of that's there, but let's take a look at some non-Apple older programs. Quit out of Pages. And let's go ahead and open up one from Microsoft Word. And here we go. This is Word about Word. This is from 2011, so a couple of years old. And if I go ahead and I change this to just Linux Report, there we go. And of course, Linux Report. Why would it not work? Right click on it there. Of course it doesn't. Doesn't have that little thing telling me that it's been renamed or giving me the option to rename it. But of course I can move it around. This is even in older programs. And of course it knows it's in the new folder. Let's go ahead and quit out of the old Word, or the new Word, new for Mac. And now we're going to go to My Linux Report 2008. I have this one set to open up in Word 2008. We'll even double check that about Word. Yes, this is Word 2008. And if I go ahead and I rotate this, of course I can. No, it doesn't do it real time. It's an old enough program where it doesn't do that. But what happens if I right click here? Of course, it tells me it's in a deeply buried folder. And if I move it, of course, it's going to show me that. Now it will say it's in the new folder. So again, these things, they just work. Why would they not work? I don't understand. There are some oddities with some of these really old programs. If I go into here and I give it Linux Report 2008, it doesn't show it automatically, but it does know where it is. It does know the name there. If I go ahead and save it, it does correct that. But that's a little bit of an oddity there, going back to a program from 2008. Let's go and quit out of there. Here's one more to show. I'm going to show this right here. This is Textwrangler. I show this because this is a program that did not work when I was showing stuff in the past about recent documents. And so it doesn't handle some of the Mac stuff as well as it should. It's one of the few programs other than Adobe programs that doesn't handle that. But it has the path written right here. Of course, I can right click on it and it's in a deeply buried folder. I can go ahead and rename that. Click off of it, and of course it knows right there. And if I put it into new folder, of course it knows that also, and it will know it here. So even programs that don't use all of the Mac stuff as well as they should with the files, most of the newer programs, they're going to work just fine. So the only exceptions I found are Adobe programs. Other than that, unless you go back to some programs from 2008 which have a few quirks, things just pretty much work.